Bonsoir, capricious crowd. ETF2L's own 606 season 48, or in other words, autumn 2024 season will set the clocks back as you hopefully already have done. Likewise, on Sunday as today, it is Wednesday, my dudes, and what a Wednesday it is that you'll be experiencing with JMax on camera duty and Wan alongside with me on Cross-Talk Allegiance. We have Sammakot versus Forfans, but before I monologue way too long, I want to hype up the very big stakes that are here tonight with us, since we have the second to last place battling against the last but two with a hefty lead over Sammakot with a total of 13 points, and Sammakot have 12 points. When that is already brimming with action, there's so much at stake here, but I mean, we can still cast, I guess.
This was shaping up to be a really important game for the playoffs, right? We're kind of coming into this week, Dometo, where we're in a situation where there's like, it feels like almost there are like 5 teams sort of vying for that last little spot in the playoffs, but we kind of ended up. I don't know how much the people in the chat have paid attention to ETF2L over the last 12 hours, but what has happened was last night we saw a game between Madam and Garda, wherein Mandem absolutely crushed Garda. There wasn't really any competitions, but crucially, Dometo, they played with a Merc, and that Merc was Nubby, and Nubby was playing on a blacklisted alternate account, which means that Garda Panteri got a default win and all 6 points against Mandem, which puts them in a commanding lead against these other teams where both Forfans and Sammakot were in positions where if either of these teams, right, could take 6 points, they would have had a really good shot at getting that 4th place spot into the playoffs. Now, it becomes a lot harder for both of them, right?
If we were at LAN, when you would see how shocked I am. But you don't have to wait for this long also for the other people to cue you in on the horizon. Next week, we have a little LAN coming up. And with that said, you don't have to keep all your emotions piled up with you. No, you can share your disappointments and your drama stories with other players there on the venue. But you already laid the foundation wonderfully for tonight, as we had also the Frenchies giving a default win to Pepe Speed Zapati, I think yesterday or something. I don't know what is up with that, but there's also just a lot of people throwing points all over the board. We see the top of the table is sort of set as we are going live in 16 soonish. So before I talk myself too much into an early competitive grave, I will introduce to you Forfans. They have Nevo and QB on the scout classes, Broochman on Soldier, Demul on a Soldier as well, Delhi bracket 69 maybe on Demoman Duty, and Mueller on Medic. Sammakot is comprised of what squadron, one?
Yep, you're testing me, putting me on the spot, but it's Sills and Black on that Soldier. Then Seeds on Medic, Derpy Hooves on that Demo, Corey, and SNH on Scouts. I actually think, Dometo, this should be, coming into the season, you would look at these two rosters and you would not consider this a close game. But you were very right in the very beginning. These are two they're sitting next to each other on the scoreboards on ETF2L. This is kind of shaping up to be a really close game. I do think that the more experienced Soldier combo on the side of Forfans should be able to come out on top. This is Brugman and Demur we're talking about. Surely this is enough to sort of beat the Irishman on the other side who don't have that Premiership experience that these guys have. We've been around for a while now. Demur obviously ages, and Brugman not quite as long, but definitely equal in skills. We are going live once again. It's ETF2L season, whatever it is, 48 I believe, but it's autumn 2024. We're in live week 7. Forfans, Sammakot both playing for some hope, some tiny little grasp of a playoff berth. We're in on mid and neither team is going forwards.
The first thing that happened was Mula was shot down to half HP, but nothing happened. They were just peering at each other long range, and the Frenchies are going to take the midpoint without suffering any casualties. No one has died for the longest time. Nevo now gets traded by Sylphs. After that, though, they lose SNH. Sylphs is in behind. Broochman gets claimed by a very fearful rocket for the enemy team, and QB still tries to fight off Derpy Hooves. He happens to keep his medic alive, so it's a 2 versus 3 currently with both beams still on the field.
Yeah, but this is Siege, right? You know for a fact he's going to be walking back to the rest of his team. 100% Uber on both sides, but it's just Forfans with control of middle, and I really don't think Sammakot have any sort of business contesting this second point for now. They're still wrecking a demo, man. Just a little bit, waiting for Delhi to show up, but now Forfence looking to take this into grass. It was a really slow mid, and it kind of ended up in the situation where, yeah, I mean, as one team backing out, the other team ends up getting control for free, but now Forfence getting aggressive here into grass.
Demul is in! Demul was in from behind. Seeds didn't even look at the soldier. Mula has not popped yet.
My
He
God.
will not pop that Uber. Now the soldier flies in, finally forcing Mula. But afterwards, a lot of players were cleaned up. A 3 down for the count, and already parading upon to this last point. Black is out on the crate, but the second point is going to get kept. Huge bomb in by Breachman, making all the space onto Derpy, who's already shot down to so low on HP, dropping down to the low ground. But the battle of that last is still very ferociously going on, and they seem to be trundling about and fighting them off until the respawns come in.
Yeah, these are spawns coming in, but now Seeds getting quite healthy. Demul sending a bomb in onto Seeds. Unfortunately, not able to quite get that kill. Some nice little move there, but now Ubers have effectively equalized, right? Sammakot managing to hold on, and now it's Forfence sat back on second instead. You see them posturing up a little bit. You can build up this Uber now, but it's even. Have to see what they do. Sentry heavy up for the side of Sammakot as Corey just builds his gun up. Quite the position we're used to seeing instead. I think the meta has evolved a little bit, sort of sent that sentry gun further back. We'll have to see if he moves it into the sentry gun spot, but Forfence looking to posture in their soldiers, peeking in through shutters, spotting the sentry gun, but they must be looking for a sack at some point. But it's Sylvs getting caught out maybe a little bit. It's a trade 1-for-1, but the headshot to Delhi and Demul falling means that Forfence have to run right back out.
What just happened? I mean, Black is having a little stare contest with Broochman in that lobby, but it was QB running in through. There were double soldier rocket barrage onto that shutter area, and if they had any incentive of popping the Uber on the French side, they were backing up of it and getting another idea. QB ran in. He was a bit transfixed to those positions, but we have Demul switching to Sniper, and Sylvs is checking for off classes. SNH on counter sniping duty as well. What I wanted to point out earlier, by the way, that they weren't really supporting SNH when he was forward on their own scout class, but now he's on Sniper, so they can just chill, and Snakewater Last is sometimes inexperienced.
Yeah, this is, I think SNH is such a good sniper, right? So consistent, finding that initial headshot to Brudgman, completely shutting down the aggression, and now Demul, also a soldier bomb out of siege, and Sylvs rather, but that is just too down for Forfence. Once again, have to back off. They're trading in one soldier, but Black manages to get the demo kill from it. And this now for Forfence, I think this is kind of pushing territory. Sylvs goes in, and with some splash rockets, just gets the drop onto Delhi. It's an absolute disaster for Forfence, crumbling one after the other. And now, huge advantage here for Siege. Brudgman playing really far forwards. You need to get this force out onto Siege.
Black was allowed so much freedom. He got 3 rockets onto Delhi while being in the midst of the entire blue team and was not dealt with early enough, and that allowed this sniper afterwards to peek. Curry is not getting air shot. The Uber is forced responsively. However, they have to clear QB up, who is still forcing some ice to that, but 3 down on the blue faction and no one left anymore to shoot some trouble up. Mula is cutting his losses alongside Nevo, alongside his very able demo man Delhi, taking and putting some stickies forward above that choke green area on the door frame, and let's see if that catches anyone out, as already I was seeing maybe the red side getting put down early enough with a 1-0 loss to them, but they were able to rein in the enemy team.
Yeah, this now we've sort of stalemated out once again. It's tiny advantage here for Delhi. It's not really enough to push on, right? You need to get some kind of advantage. There's a lot of damage dealt across onto Sammakot. They have to walk back out of lobby. They're sitting in for now. The cap coming out for Forfence. They're going to peek around towards his left side area, scope out the situation. Should still spot that sentry gun, but QB falls immediately to some stickies out of Derpy Hughes. And that shuts down the French aggression right away. We're going to see any off passes, what the choice is to try and get something dealt. Brudgman takes 230 damage still. Trades out to Derpy Hughes. It's a demo down.
How do these soldiers even get those demo men all the time? It was Derpy Hughes suffering from it earlier, but Derpy Hughes is going to leap into the sky. Can they catch Cory Banana at least? And Mula! No, Seed, sorry, goes down to almost, I think, even single-digit HP. Pops the Uber. I wanted to state some objective facts before. They dropped Mula, you know, on that second point, but Seeds also had a pretty decent Uber, but they were not able to push out over the second point into that midpoint, and now they get forced, so this will be a full Uber advantage push going into last, surely.
This is Roachman going in really far forwards, trying to get that sentry gun down, but just doesn't have the support of his team quite yet, and it allows SNH to get that sniper pick onto him now. All eyes, full focus, kind of have to keep being on this sniper because Mula, such a big advantage here. You can see already the Frenchies posturing around Shutter, and the Uber comes out instantly here. It's a level 1 sentry gun, but it is just going to get shut down slowly by Delhi, as he is shut down a little bit by the spam. No really kills are coming out for the Frenchies. This is a very slow, wet noodle maneuver coming in, finding nothing. You're just losing the ball for it. What was that?
It was just horrific. They didn't get any cap time, they didn't get any progress onto the right side. No soldier was flying in, and the scouts were so very readily positioned to deny this. The Roofs gets super popped into him, being the initiator and taking this initiative into his hands. The stickies into Mula, gets sticked to that respawn queue, and now they're able to trundle forward, get the second point capped, and 2 players still down, crucially Mula lagging, which means that allows a very big pathway into the midpoint. Pushing it with heals up, no Uber yet to be popped, so building that Uber advantage concurrently.
This is now sammakot trying to get as much as they can while they have this Uber, preferably without popping it as well, right? You're going to see them get onto this midpoint. Now Seed sitting pretty with about a 40% advantage here. Have to see how they play it, right? You would assume that they tried to pressure cook something in onto grass, something through saw, try to get an opening kill to allow them to get onto the second. They still don't quite have this Uber charge. Siege just nearing it right about now. You can see them walking over to grass. Both soldiers sitting in window, but you're taking this kind of slow, right? Frenchies can sit back, spam them out. They want to keep this. They can just get an Uber charge for last. You're willing to give up second. Sit back with that 100%. They are just going to back out. But that is just Delhi, 100%.
Flanks tranquilized, Ubers equalized. We were talking about the big impact of those soldiers on the French side. Never mind, as Black and juxtaposed with the Sylphs, they bombed in, find nothing of note, and QB guns them out with the Tomislav of all things. But you were talking about those French soldiers, right? And you see those different approaches. When the Frenchies pushed sammakot's second, those soldiers were the initiators. They high bombed, as in opposed to here, sammakot, they just took the high ground with the scouts, and the scouts were looking at the enemy team and saying, come on, come at us. You don't even have Uber yet. They had 10% disparity in the Uber stakes, and they simply took that. But yeah, that was sort of what happened in the last 30 seconds. We saw those double soldier bombs not happening and not coming to fruition. SNH switching to sniper, Nevo being on the long shooting marksman as well.
That is a bit of a visual bug for the guys in the chat. SNH walking around with a machete like it's a sniper rifle. Love to see it. Both snipers now scoping up around that shutter area. You can see kind of, they're sort of staring at each other around a little bit. sammakot trying to make some kind of space for this sniper. It's such a hard angle for SNH to peek. He has to charge up the scope, try to make it through shutters and find something, maybe peek around the corner. But the spam is really strong. They know the sniper is up, and now you have to get a bit creative if you want to get in. Find some kind of pick, blank, or black rather. Decent spam. Forwards now trying this right side area instead, but the stickies are right there. SNH can't get them all gone instead. Just pushing around for now. Sentry gun up, and it makes the soldier's job so difficult on the side of sammakot. But Nevo threads the needle with a shot onto the enemy sniper, and that's the aggression shot right out of sammakot.
And Black even craters, though that's 2 men down, and that allows an opening for a counter-suicidal bomb, as they might even pocket their sniper into lobby, as QB is, Nevo rather, is peeking forward and getting fully buffed. You saw how wonderfully set up the sentry gun was, covering all the angles. The double soldier showdown rocket spam onto that set sentry gun did not really come of it and didn't render it harmless, since it was repaired quite well. Then afterwards sniper fell. The problem is the main pathway, how you force Mula in that position, is try to get someone cheeky through under, since the sentry gun watches top left and the soldiers were watching the top right. So it's just very, very hard to crack it down. SNH quite weak.
SNH lost that peak battle with Nevo, finding the 150 damage, but unfortunately for him, Not the headshot allows SNH to live for another day, but this is SNH still favoring the sniper after it has just been discovered, right? You just only have so many angles you can peek here, and the Frenchies, for their credit, to their credit, right? They're doing a really good job of shutting SNH down. He is, we saw this at LAN, right? At Poland. This guy is so potent on this sniper. I think especially on Process, they love to run this guy. Or he loves, rather, to just run sniper permanently. This time around, though, quite finding the effectiveness.
By the way, if you're not really sure if we're playing in Europe or NA right now, what do you reckon is the scoreline here after 12 minutes? It's still 0-0 and both soldiers get denied to oblivion. Mula takes at least one rocket. That is worth it. I suppose not at all, but they tried something. But yeah, I mean, I was posing a rhetoric question to you. It is just still 0-0.
Yeah, the soldier buff, or the soldier sack is interesting, but I think the moment you have Nevo on Sniper and QB on that engineer as well, makes it really hard to actually send in a counter sack of any sort of form. You see now Sylvs opening the door for SNH. Seems like they are just giving up. Nevo is up on the spy, in spawn, ready to check, make sure no funny business coming out. Well, it looks like SNH just back up on that scout. We have to see now sammakot. They have about a minute to play with here before the round resets.
I'm picturing them to honestly push, just judging from external validation. I can't hear the mumble comms, but they are buffing the soldiers up to full fitness. SNH is probably going to be happy to lead that charge, and W is also fully buffed as already Black is jumping forward and into the sentry gun. Unfortunately, Sylvs is still waiting for a bolt, probably that will never come, as he's just hiding behind the track. Are they not spotting him? They're teaming up and bullying the enemy demo man, and Demur is finally getting fought off 3-1.
This is some French object permanence that we need to train here. As Sylvs is just sitting on the truck, someone look at him. The demo's so low. Nevo's coming up on the sniper. Finally shuts him down, but it's a kill into Brudgeman as well. Now the Uber coming out of Seeds here, so decent damage on to Mula here. Sentry gun trying to be built in time. Counter Uber finds one pick onto Corey, and there's no real space here for the sammakot side. They have to back off. So that was crazy. We just forgot that Seeds exist.
I mean,
and now, okay, fine, whatever.
They can't back off, but I guess that is what happens here. 47 points onto Seeds, Mula 34 points, and after that, the second one is a demo man on 18 points. W status, and that shows you how it is just a stalemate. You can read it here. You are losers. How very correctly the game knows, we know, but I mean, at least they tried something, but I feel needed to be a bit more brave. I mean, popping your Uber in, but then sort of just accepting defeat honestly and not really doing anything with it, staying on the high ground and not trundling toward that point. I'm 100% sure also the opposing team wouldn't even have pushed out, but second mid-fight.
Back to Snakewater middle we go. No round was claimed in that first round. We took about 14 minutes off the clock, and now Demul sitting on top, but it's a really early kill here onto W, who's shutting down that damage that could come out from sammakot. Now Sylvs, SNH all falling as they try to surge forward onto Mula, but unfortunately finding absolutely no kills. Seeds, living up to the name, is so far out already. Has given up on that mid-fight. Should live to tell the tale. Almost at 90% in that spawn, but Forfence pouncing on it. Look at how aggressive they are. Already in onto last, trying to spawn cap this out.
Barn, indeed, and Derby moves gets claimed by this very aggressive rocket, and a lot of Captain coming in. The Uber is forced just on this heavy here, who is just looking at glowing players, honestly, and they still have a double scout here. So much Captain, they can't even block it anymore. It's a 1-0 conversion rate. They heard us talking slack a little bit, and not saying trash, but I mean, what just happened here was what didn't happen in the past 16 minutes or 14 minutes that we saw. So one round in 1 minute and 14 minutes for basically nothing.
Yeah, that is really nice heads-up play from Forfence, recognizing that the medic is so far back, you could just send in your entire team, right? No one there to contest them as they get in onto last. So much space taken before the Uber even comes out. The heavy solo on the red side, just not doing enough. Getting that round on the board for Forfence. If the pace keeps going at what we saw in that first round, this might be looking really nice for Forfence. Black in the meantime, sky high, as once again the bombs out of the red soldiers don't find much. Brudge, the only one traded out, is now SNH falling as well. We're in a similar situation this time though. Derby Hooves has lived, so there's a bit more defensiveness coming out on the side of sammakot, who are retreating back to their balcony.
So I can make amends for not pointing out what I wanted to get across earlier, the point. On that previous mid-fight, in the previous round, Mula won that entire round, honestly, for me, since he dodged 3 players, and he did it again, dodging 2 players, both soldiers down, and now you're 4 versus 6, you're not going to win that mid if you didn't get enough pivotal space taken, since damage is not enough here, but QB is a frag that is enough, and the Uber is forced responsively. Mula does not pop his, now he pops his onto his own consequences, onto his own players, charging forward, getting all those frags in their own enlarged and inflated pockets, only Sylphs back alive in the background. Demur capping as a soldier. Nothing is going to fathom him. Curry Banana 1v4. I don't see this one working out.
It's such a nice bomb from Demur that sort of sets up that entire play, right? Getting in, getting that early force onto Seed, and then the rest of the team playing around that Uber pop so well, delaying for as long as possible, and then just collapsing, finding everyone in lobby before you even get onto last. It's one heavy to try and hold on to it, but you're staring down the barrel of 4 players in a demo man with all 8 stickies loaded, and you just can't hold that round. Now, Forfens, they took a while to ramp up, but now it feels like 2 very dominant rounds, very quick succession. Sammakot, they need to crawl the way back in and has to start on these mid-fights.
Seems to me, honestly, that Sammakot is just giving Forfens this lifeline. They need to change their mid-fight up, since the double soldier bomb truly found nothing. Sylphs is now controlling the top area. Demur is claimed. The Black is still alive. So those 2 soldiers now opting for a bit more of a conservative approach. Now bombing. QB, who is happy to survive that, but not after some PTSD got infused into that maybe hard counter to a soldier, but not hard counter to 2 soldiers. In any case, though, they won that mid-fight, and still, the soldiers coming in from behind, Sylphs very low on HP.
It's Brudgeman sitting up on this roof here, somehow not getting taken down, surviving at 8 HP, pelting down damage onto the enemy team. The soldier bomb comes in and doesn't find anything. Now 3 down for Sammakot. Have to back off so far. Can't control middle at all. It's an even Uber situation. But now 7 seconds on these respawn timers. I don't quite think Forfens are able to push this much further as the respawners coming out right now. They're trying it anyway, sending it in through Saw, but those are respawners getting the forward spawn as well, and now the fight's coming in as the soldier bombing in. Brudgeman doesn't get the force on the Seeds, and I think now is the Wolf trying to go and hit wrong rocket, and that's a force coming out of Seeds. Now going in through Kitchen, it looks like, and Choke as well, but they're not finding anything. 2 picks now. Forfens going down, and it's Devil falling as well. Mula has not popped anything at all.
He will wait for his players, probably no, getting forced in the kitchen. SNH is in behind their lines. I wanted to compliment Forfens. It will probably fade into insignificance as SNH now tries to cook something up from the kitchen, but no, the cook is here. No one is going to cook without him, and the soldiers are getting cleaned up. Mula on a 13 HP. Finally, Sammakot is charging back onto that point, surging forward, jolting. The jolt force of the scouts coming in onto the soldier, and there's only SNH left alive. Full clean-up wipe. It's the caster's curse par excellence, as I wanted to compliment Sammakot since they played more conservative about their soldiers, but they just seem to throw their advantages all the time away. They play conservative, it works out great, and then they just feed 3 players for no reason at all.
This nice heads-up play by the scouts, though, combining super well on the French side, getting those frags, and now a massive advantage here for Mula. 80-90% getting in. Seeds nowhere near an Uber charge of his own. Corey up on the sniper, trying to find some kind of pick, as Deli already posturing around shots, as you can see them sending it Uber straight in. Sentry gun shot down already.
And Corey is picking Brudgeman apart from this Uber, not being part of this Uber for anymore. QB on a 4K. Deli already piping Sylphs down, and that Uber is thwarted a lot since didn't really get enough cap time. QB is still in behind, but spotted for the time being. Seeds 80%, 70% advantage, and finally claiming their second point. They need to keep the soldiers alive. I will iterate until the semantic saturation sets in as a double soldier bombs in those soldiers on the French side onto Seeds. He pops that Uber. Would have dropped when if he didn't. hit the right mouse.
It's such a nice rocket there at the end from Brudgman to seal the deal. Yes, he's falling down in a straight line, but anyway, that shot is so pretty. And Siege rightfully right-clicking, making sure that he stays alive. They still have 2 kills. Make that 3 to work with. All of Forfence now have to back off as they get the soldiers back up, but they have no business on middle quite yet. It is Mula, 90%. You can see them sifting over towards that kitchen area, trying to get in here as Nevo, as he is looking forward. The Uber's pop basically instantly, and now it's a solo onto Nevo, trying to find something, as Seed's still building in choke, but Nevo quite unable to find these shots. Seed's 70% of his own, and I think maybe with Sylvs and Black in behind, they can make something happen here, make something work, try to get back in with an Uber charge of their own.
Are these the top Premiership medic techniques, by the way? Seeds, as the call comes in that an entire Uber combo is pushing onto him, just turns his back to them and just arrows, or bolts rather, his own demo man. And Cory is caught in the transition, lost in translation rather, as no one really caught that they were already out. Now Blue capturing that second point. They're 2-0 up, only 8.5 minutes to go. I mean, 40% disadvantage, but I don't see sammakot pushing out consecutively and aggressively, proactively even. Black gets shot down from his own high perch there on the little roof, and Derpy, who's completely left alone on the low ground, and they're already getting some very cheeky shots in, but Seeds is not forced.
Yeah, Siege doesn't pop the Uber, but now they can't use it aggressively anymore, right? They had this massive advantage, but the aggression out of Forfence managed to seal them all the way back on their own last. The kill onto Derpy, who's towards the end, is so crucial as well, shutting down so much aggression, and then you lose your demo man on Snakewater last, you get so scared, right? There's so many players are going to try to force onto that point, should they be able to instead. Heavy up manages to dissuade any further aggression. Now QB attempting a bit of a sniping himself. Have to see. This is like the 4th player we've seen on Sniper this game already, yeah?
Everybody wants to try his hands on it. You're speaking about dissuading people. I want to persuade them toward proactively pushing. SNH is kill binding. Is that how you want to have this defense to work? I think he just did he meant to do that. Anyway, and Uber is forced. Seeds was hiding in a lower position, and I don't know what is happening right now. I hope you are.
Okay, so Seeds popped. Did we notice that Seed popped a French who is aware? They're not pushing like they have an advantage at the moment. I think you're right. I think SNH like accidentally like tried to swap classes. Wait, did they not know?
I don't think they know. So
wait,
so he just killed Panda. Seeds was hiding out of sight, popped in Uber, and now we're back to square one.
It's like 2 consecutive absolute shambles disasters here for sammakot, and somehow Forfence are just completely unaware that they're sitting on 100% advantage. Something they watch back the STV afterwards, and they're just surprised. Like, not only does the heavy accidentally die trying to swap classes outside of spawn, then on top of that, right, they have a massive advantage. Brudgman trading his life for a sentry gun pick. Almost worth it, but QB just still on the sniper, right? And it just makes the aggression a bit harder for Forfence. You're trying to get some kind of angle here for the French side, but I mean, yeah, where do you go over the sniper? You see the stickies placed down by the demo man, because you know he's around the corner, but you need someone to present themselves to your crosshairs. Still, a nice little sick bomb coming in onto Mula. That was gorgeous there. Tier 6ing the Uber out of him.
Sorry if your guinea pig just jumped up high, but I mean, that was definitely worthwhile there to hype it up a little bit. That was an insane skip jump, and he was in for so long, and I wanted to put the emotion into you that Mula probably felt. There's a soldier. Why is nobody dealing with the soldier? Brudgman still up about in the front lines, and they got a very important force. Now they have to think, what are they doing now? They're switching out and off their classes. Derpy's already leaping in high from the sky. QB is the first victim. Brudgman is the second one. Derpy's on a 2k and claiming the second one.
It's the Mula behind, and he's found one kill already off the Black. Another really big damage dealt. Such a nuisance. Finally is picked off, but it shuts down the aggression out of sammakot really, really nicely now. Mula 90% advantage, but doesn't have any much players to work with. Instead, sitting around backside towards their own saw. Forfence, I don't know if they can go in there. Trying to look for this. They actually just pop in the scout solo coming forward to kill. Coming in onto Seeds, and they managed to find SNH as well. So 2 kills to work with. Not the end of the world here. World for Forfence, but they are going forwards, and there are no red players to be found at all. Seeds 80%, and we're going to maybe see some counter aggression coming out of sammakot as Frenchies look to posture themselves up around second. But Siege, you're 90%. Surely we make something happen here. There's 4 minutes left on this map timer. You're down 2 rounds. You can't sit back anymore. They're looking to just push in through lobby.
Now they have to go, they have to push the issue. There's nothing to lose. Dumul has already spotted it sitting on the little pipe, being the plumber all along. So much damage. Seeds still in the transitional area. Does he get caught? No. Dodges the second rocket, but there's probably a backcapper. Never mind, he was dealt with there. We're checking their backlines, which was very important for this to work and is severely under time pressure. Is sammakot Sylphs dealt with, so one player lacking, and Demul Brutschman alongside QB spawning 3 players from the forward spawn only. Second point is going to get kept now. Seeds has an Uber, but apparently now Mula has 2 and he has the personnel to back it up.
It's Demul with a nice bomb on 2 Derpy as well, getting that kill now. No Demo Man for sammakot makes there such a difficult hold here on the second. Have to really rely on these scouts to make the magic happen. But look at the health bars on the red side. They're just not quite there. Demul, such a nuisance with these bombs once again. Just finding that kill and forfend. They just have to run out the timer. Make it really hard. This is 2 rounds that sammakot need to get. But forfends are just kind of trading quite effectively. Stall out this game. Yes, you might not be getting a round win off of this, but you could just pressure this so far back. The health, it's still not there for sammakot. They need to be pushing forwards right now, and this is a trade coming out onto Corey, on to Nevo as well. Neither team really finding anything. It's just a scout solo at the moment. Soldier gets flashed on the high ground in the end, but it's just 1 kill going in onto Derpy, who falls once again. You just don't have a Demo Man in these fights, and now sammakot, they have no business on second. SNH killed as well. But I think offense, they can look to push this into last.
Very bizarre that this French Uber worked out in their favor. Mula was so far forward, they could have been so easily cut off, but truly sammakot players were not charging in, not even covering the angles, and now it's a full faction team, fully buffed even on the blue side, and only Cory Banana trying to defend his honor. The last point, yes, they don't need another point for themselves since the time is ticking so much in their favor, but why not just get a 3rd round on their own face as well? I can tell you why, because only 2 players left alive. But it wastes this very precious time, and Mula is getting secured and safeguarded out by Nevo. 2 minutes only. That has to be the most clinical 2 pushes forward that we haven't seen in the last 28 minutes out of sammakot.
Yeah, they need to basically cap the last point right now and do it all again for another round. Usually it's about 1 minute 30 for a really fast round where you just kind of get the dominant mid-victory, roll it into a last. Instead, Forfen's very, very aware. All they need to do is take all of these small fights. You might normally not take them, but it's just Derpy who's again getting caught out by Stickies, followed up really nicely by Nevo, and that Demo Man loss, I think this just spells the end of the map, unfortunately. Now 1 minute 40 and we're nearing, well, we are just in the realm of mathematical impossibility for sammakot to come back in, push us to a golden cap as Forfens. They grind out this at the end with some really nice heads-up aggression. Nevo just complete 2-shot on the Seeds, forced out the Uber, and this trade, you take this any day as Forfens. Nice heads-up play. It took some slow ramping up for them, but then in the end, those 2 dominant rounds, and then they kind of never looked back, right? sammakot didn't really have an answer for Forfens at any point.
Mula's life is so chill. Nobody was looking at him during that Uber. I know it is garbage time and now, but they should still sort of even try to look decent on the logs, but nobody will probably care about that now. Full Uber, a lot of blowing players, a lot of glowing players, a lot of very headache-inducing players coming in. SNH is dealt with. Nevo on a 7k derpy moves, tries to clear his team out, and with the stickies is able to stick some players away, but someone has sticked himself up on the point, and that is who's that? I want to say Nevo. No, never mind. It was Delhi, but afterwards the scout ran in. Nevo was still alive. 3-0. It is the final point, the nail in the coffin. Earlier it was already the nail in the coffin, but there was so much potential. We were talking about this potency, but never really unleashed, and they sort of, sammakot, they reveled in the fact that they just sell their players for like €1 and nothing came of it. Like Derpy Hoofs, you know, walks in, wants his team to follow up, but nobody follows up, and he just looks at 6 players, and yeah.
It's unfortunate for sammakot. I do believe that that puts them firmly into the realm of mathematically no longer being able to get that 4th place and get themselves into playoffs. As Forfens, all 6 points here would be very much appreciated for some kind of mathematical miracle getting them into that playoff spot. It's a decent start for them, right? Now we're going on to Sunshine map number 2 here, but I mean, yeah, let's talk about that for a little bit longer, right? It was such a slow first round. We ended up with a round reset as neither team able to crack a last hold. Sammakot tried for ages to get that last hold down for 4 fence, but them just not cracking, setting themselves up for a really fast couple of rounds, and they just kind of never look back. Sammakot unable to push back against 4 fence, and they just kind of fall out in the end. It feels like, honestly, it comes down to the trades on the flanks, etc., right? It feels like just individually, Sammakot just ended up taking what's trades, and you can't come back from that.
The main problem was, honestly, you were sort of, just circumventing or even picturing that this game also had 3 phases. The first phase where you saw that 12 minutes, nothing happened. I mean, no team was really racing into an advantage. It leapfrogged a little bit more to Sammakot's last than to the Frenchies last, but in the end, it stayed 0-0. Then, yes, in the duration or during the duration of like 2 or 3 minutes, 2-0 to 4 fence. I know, terrible for Sammakot, but still, that is an opening. That means the game is getting more dynamic. Nobody is sandbagging anymore. And in the midst of those losses, there could have been some unleashed potential. And I was seeing the great initiative there, mostly from the scouts. They were controlling on the side of Sammakot. They were controlling those high grounds, and they were able to take this fight forward. Derpy, sometimes being a bit slow to respond to this, and then ended up being alone in no man's land. Didn't happen. Didn't do anything anymore. Also, not being able to, as you a little bit touched upon, not being able to play the Ubers out to full extent, since Mula was never getting pressured, especially on the last like 5 minutes. Yes, the last 2 minutes were a little bit of garbage time, but they were just simply not looking at him. They were trying to shoot different players, focus fire not turned on. But that said, I only want to justify that it was still a close game, and I saw the issues. They were not so abstract. It is a 3-0 on terms of pay or theoretically, but Sammakot could have made it at least way closer than that nominally.
Yeah, we'll have to see if they can come back for map number 2. It is Frenchies once again. 4 fence. They need every single point that they can get if they want to make it into the top 4 of this season now. As they'll have to try and claim another 3 points tonight. We will be going on to Sunshine next. Should be map number 2 here, unless Souls was lying to me when I asked him. Going into this map, I think Sunshine, obviously a bit of a change of pace, but it is, however, I would argue, an even harder last push to successfully complete. If you are a team, even with full advantage, I have seen so many flubbed full Uber ad Sunshine last pushes, and it makes me worried a little bit, Dometo. Are we just going to be sitting on last for a really long time?
As we have on Snakewater, I hope you didn't look at the logs, by the way. I hope you didn't. Don't do that right now, because I want to ask you 1 or 2 questions. What do you think is the KD on Nevo? Just quick estimation.
I'll be honest. I'm casting from the stream feed, and the okay, logs were very much up there, and he was like 24 for 3. So just chilling on the Thalash type, and he was having a good time.
I also want to point out, since Medic may always have to brag about Medics. Mula dying 3 times, Seeds dying 2 times. Yes, it was a long stalemate, but still a lot of soldiers tried to initiate and bomb in. Mula has 1 drop, so 1 out of the 3 deaths he has are drops. So he has a 33.3.3 period 3% drop rate. I don't know if that is so good accountable for Medic, no. But Nevo topping the charts here. You see it, especially like literally dying as much as his own Medic. But if you saw the logs, perfect for you. I don't have a second monitor, so I don't have the ability to do that. But you were asking me on Sunshine if it will slow down that much to a crawl. I'm going to guess here hypothetically, since what do you think is the more bigger impetus here for Sammakot, to gain points, or to deny the Frenchies points, or the Frenchies to get those last points? They want to secure themselves a playoff spot, but Sammakot want to prevent them from getting that playoff spot, maybe.
Yeah, now it becomes a matter of honor and pride, and making sure that the rule does not make it to playoffs. Because here's the thing: if 4 fence now don't make playoffs, Ron's is in the chat. He can put Rack Attack in the chat, and everything's okay. We'll have to see. I mean, obviously, Forfans, they really want to make those playoffs. I think this is a playoffs-capable roster as well, Tomato. To be completely honest, this is a team that should be in the top 4, and the fact that they're not must be sort of eating away at them a little bit for the side of Forfans, because there's no way that they're going into this season and not expecting to make it top 4.
I can tell you, by the way, a very big pro tip how you get into playoffs. You collect as much points as you can, and you especially don't give default wins to teams.
That is good.
I'm not so sure. I mean, I'm new to this here, but maybe that's also, there is a rule of lucky loser, but I don't think it applies here. So they really need to get as much points as they can, as the red faction is comprised of French soldiers, as we're ticking down in the pre-gaming setup and timer, and blue is featured by sammakot. 30 seconds you only have to wait. But what is your prediction here for that map?
I'm going to be honest, I think this is probably going to be a slow. We're probably not, my opinion, after that sort of Snake Water game that we did just watch, I can't see this getting any more than sort of 3-4 rounds on the board, and it's probably going to be a French victory once again. It just seemed to be more of a cohesive team. The Soldier Bombs coming in out of Demul and Brudgeman have been really good, and they've been setting up their team so well. Sort of Derpy Hooves, right, really needs to do a better job of sort of keeping himself alive, because towards the end of that game, getting caught out a ton and sort of, I think, ultimately costing his team opportunity to get those final rounds. We are live. Map number 2 here. sammakot unable to make playoffs before Forfans fighting their playoff lives. They took 3 points on map number 1. They're looking to do the same here on Sunshine. It was a slow one. Snake Water, but now we're back on middle and Forfans sitting in their valley.
Sylphs sleeping in and having a little bit of a skip jump around the blue Tetris area only forced the ice to that, enabled so much space. 3 French players in the respawn queue and getting crumbled even more so. Nivo, Delhi, Mula, they live, they back away, and they don't have any fight left in them anymore. Way better out of sammakot, as they still have some fight back into them. But I would agree with you. I'm always rooting for the so-called underdogs here as well. I see SNH is always so aggressive. They need to support SNH more, and Nivo is complementing his players a little bit more on Snake Water, which ended up with them leading the charge here. But they're already in. Sylphs is deleted by a pipe, and Brudgeman also claims some frags, so this last initiative is thwarted.
Yeah, already now, right? You send in 2 soldiers, they just go down, and that just means that you can't really sit in lobby with any sort of you just kind of have to leave it, right? You're instead forced back onto second for a while, at least until your soldiers come in. It's an opportunity to open a spawn door. Doesn't look like they're willing to take it instead. Sending their soldiers back in, buffing up Sills, buffing up Black. Maybe looking once more for another second, but it's a Pyro onto Nevo's Tenchigun, set up as well by QB, and it makes the soldier's job so difficult. How do you bomb this if there's a level 3 up, or you're protecting the medic? It's one soldier trying to bomb in through lower. Silv's actually in super far forward, but the medic's just in spawn. Black, Silv's both taken down as Duffy Hughes managed to find the sentry gun kill, but with SNH falling to some stickies, it should just be the French re-aggression coming in here. They have 3 frags, and they're looking on balcony already.
I truly wanted to be cheeky and say this is how you bomb in, since I already saw Sylphs getting some consequential damage, but alas, he only found some teleporters, and that rendered him harmless, way more akin to what we saw on Snake Water. And now it is still a second fight. They don't want to give this up. Yes, supporting SNH, getting a little bit weak though on the flank and having to back out. Corey is leading the charge, trying to concrete on that concrete, or they're getting some concrete calls out here, but Sylphs is sort of just sold in the front lines.
Now just sitting back for now. Even Uber's still, but there's one soldier down here. So Forfans actually looking to just grab this opportunity. The bomb comes in. That's a pop from Siege straight onto Corey, trying to solo in. Maybe find themselves a little bit of a demo kill, but they don't find it. Health bars on the French side, not looking too hot, but they're also just not in at all. Instead, Uber's traded. No kills found. We're just kind of back where we started. Even Ubers both sides, and maybe sammakot, they're sitting up towards choke, buffing up their soldiers. This is Sylphs looking like he wants to bomb in.
This is what sammakot needed. I'm not sure who called for it, but they were able to fabricate this nice Uber trade. If it was Corey, if it was Seeds, if it was a joint effort, a joint venture of success. Sylphs is already in, Broochman and dealt with, but Seeds gets shot apart by Broochman, who is still in behind the lines, and the Dangerman, they did not spot him early enough. The Frenchies might be able to clear out the remaining stragglers, since they very much have the able help of their own beam to buff them up to full fitness.
Yeah, this is a bit unfortunate for sammakot. They try to go in, but unfortunately Brudgman just does the air soldiers one better, getting that clean kill onto Seeds. This is down Mula, ginormous advantage here on his Uber Medi gun. For now, still walking in onto a middle, trying sammakot to spam him out just a little bit, try to get this force out as soon as possible. Here's Black actually in with a really nice bomb, finds a scout instead, but that's not quite the Uber. Instead, coming out through onto Choke, and it Seeds not quite able to get out. Blue Shutter instead, just that kill coming forward. Sylphs desperately trying to get in onto Mula, not finding that last rocket. Mula lives. That medic down once again. It's 4 fence. They're just looking at a heavy and a sniper. They're getting in onto last already.
Heavy has a lot of HP, but the problem is if 6 players are shooting him, that HP bar is going to dwindle down very fast. As we see, Cory Banana is a victim that is very well penultimately claimed after Broochman then gets also cleaned out of the picture. Black tries to black out some more players. SNH deals with the Mool, and there's a 2-man player down for this offensive team's efforts. Also Delhi down, so it allows the opening here. You saw though, not even Seeds lives from this triple bomb there when they used this Uber, but were able to cut their losses quite well. Mula is so weak!
Mula has to pop that Uber. Nice bomb coming in out of the blue soldiers. Gets that force across, and they do find the kills onto Sylphs, Black, and SNH. With that Uber bomb come in. Look at the health bars on 4 fence as well. It's a bit hard for them to push. They're trying to make it work anyway because Seeds, he still doesn't have Uber. Instead, Brudgman walking forward to Seeds now just barely gets the Uber off the time. But it's a solo onto Corey. His 3 is still down for sammakot, and that means they can't really push in. Instead, 4 fence sitting back, waiting for the Uber to fade. One scout is just in on his own. QB getting so much cap time, opening the door for the rest of his team. One does fall into Mool. 4 fence backing off for now, but in that trade, Mula builds up mighty well. He's 75%. This is a big advantage to work with.
Truly methodically played. A bit of an optical migraine for sammakot, as they tried so much, but only trials and tribulations were left for them, since you saw how well the Frenchies played, getting 3 players down early enough and then pushing in, getting that force, now having this Uber advantage worked out for themselves. Some slack cut out for them, since you see this. So much cap time earlier. Also Nevo stacking onto that point while they forced this Uber, and it allowed so much cap time to be done prior to that last push. And yes, maybe a lesser team would have not have that much cap time, you know, and sammakot would have caught up on the Uber stakes, but no, they can't, since so much cap time, double scout, and boom, 1-0.
Yeah, but it's just no point presence for sammakot, forced back by 4 fence with the early Uber coming in, using it to back them off into their own spawn, and then they're just not in position to be able to contest that point. Just sent 2 scouts on it, and it's very nice. 1-0 up here for 4 fence. We're back on middle already. Delhi doing a decent job of getting a lot of damage here onto Derpy Hooves. It's Black that falls early to a bomb. Sylphs low as well, and now there is no high ground at all. You lose your demo man that late into the mid-fight. Sylphs just has to back off, gets cleaned up by QB, and now we're leading players one after the other. sammakot, they're losing the Omni ones individually, and it's taking them forever. It's a nice little 1 kill onto Delhi from Seeds. He tries to sub out, gets a 2nd kill, but the rocket from Brudgman salvages at the very end. Heroics for Seeds, but it's just not enough, and that's another really good win for 4 fence. Ginormous advantage here.
I wanted to hype it up, wanted to say who's going to be the recipient of that crit streak. By the way, Seeds was switching to crit streak. Problem is, Derpy Hooves went down again early enough. That was sort of symptomatic of their downfall earlier. Black also gets blacked out, and SNH is chasing. Mula even has enough pistol shots in his magazine to turn the enemy medic into a bloody pulp. Demul still spotted on the side flank. Medigun now used by Seeds, who switched to crit streak prior to that, but it was not the crits Wednesday, no, it is rather a bit timid, and Uber Wednesday, but Seeds is still getting bombed. Demul is in from behind. They didn't watch the left side of the lobby.
It's Demul just absolutely salvaging the round there for Forfent. You lose Mula in a trade like that, right? It becomes really, really difficult because Seeds has a giant advantage for sammakot to work with, but that late kill after the fight is already over onto Seeds. sammakot probably already pushing that they want, or calling the want to push now. Losing the medic sets them so far on the back foot. Black once again unable to find that force or any kind of kills in Cafe. Demul high bombing forwards, trying to make as much space as possible here. Forfent scoping out the area. They have a 50% advantage here to work with. They're going to be looking to send this up to last. Get another round. Corey on the sniper. He's going to have to hit a really nice shot here.
Through dungeon they come. They are not getting incarcerated, no. Only popping the Uber now very, very late. A lot of cap time already done. Half time has faded into the advantage of the Frenchies, and huge rockets onto Dirkus, going to eat his build there and the pipe as well. 2-0. The last resort bayonet not able to come out of the sammakot soldiers, and it renders red team with a 2-0 lead. The main problem was once again that they were just getting forced there early, losing one player, then losing another, and getting so much forced out by those scouts. And you see this, and you already alluded to it, the Frenchies are hungry for their playoff spot, and you show and see why they are a playoff team, since they always do that in sync, even if they fail in sync, which they are not doing here, but they're always so very much coordinated.
We're now back onto middle. Last map was a really slow one by this time. We hadn't seen any rounds at all. This time around, it's 2 up for the French side. And Demul instantly finding a kill onto Seeds. Tries to hide, counter kill onto Mula as well. It's actually sammakot with the superior health bars so far, as Nevo 5 HP here. Deli cleaned up, and Nevo has to make the 1v4 of a lifetime. It starts with a 1v2 here. Manages to squeak out one, but it's a wipe for sammakot here. Using that medic up at the same time, building at the same time. But they managed to get control of mid. It's a decent start to work with. We're going to have to see them convert this into a little bit more.
Uber stakes are equal, however. We saw a wonderful mid-fight there for Seeds, who got waddled about by a soldier on the low ground. 2 rockets into the side, and that was it for that Medi guy with the Medigun. But it is crit streak again. By the way, speaking about it, Seeds on crit streak, Derpuse this time around alive. Let's see if it will be a crit streak Wednesday. I hope we see one, since I don't think Forfents are aware of it. No one was checking for it, and they are trundling through, through the cafe area, but the first crit streak misses, and everybody's dead.
This is a really nice heads-up play there for Forfents. It's just so easy kills there for Deli. The bomb coming in from Brudgman as well completely shuts down the crits, as Derpuse has one sticky to shoot. Unfortunately, just a little bit too slow. Mula able to dodge out now. Huge, ginormous advantage here for Mula. Seeds is up, the crit's not working. There's that in spawn. Have to contend with just Deli on those sticky bombs, setting them on their forwards. They're able to get out for now. This is a massive advantage. sammakot, you need to pop this Uber as they try to go into choke here for Forfents. Otherwise, you're staring down the barrel of a giant Uber disadvantage on your last point. But there's no soldier bomb coming in. Instead, it's just Deli bossing his way forwards, setting up some spam, and now 50% down for Seeds still. It is just the French marching forward.
And Demul was helping them so much in that effort as he secured the left side of the lobby. Uber is going to get popped onto the demo man with a double sticky jump forward. QB caps that second point, which means now the last point is open for the grabs. A lot of stickies still lying around. Sentry gun, mechanical warden into scrap and bolts dealt with. And
oh
now
my god.
People are just walking on the point. There are scouts, and they can cap quite fast, you know. 2 times cap. It's set sometimes when you load into a game, then there's a little hint, and that says scouts cap really fast. Yeah, but they also didn't have any Uber to respond to, and I know our crowd is semantically saturated since I'm iterating so much. I'm trying to hype it up, but it seems as if the Frenchies want to close off 5-0 this Sunshine round. Map.
It must just be a bit of a mental disconnect there from Sammakot, unable to keep up with the Frenchies at this point, who are playing it super well. It's Corey at the end there on the heavy. Unfortunately, just not on the point to block the capture, watches it happen in front of his very eyes, because he's revved up, unable to go forwards, back on middle here. It's Black and Sills revved up, but unable to find much of anything. Decent early kill onto Delhi, sets up their team decently well, because Forfans are playing right back, but Derpy who's shut down so low by Rudgman, just up on this high ground, spamming for absolutely free, and so ultimately, in the end, without that demo man, it's Forfans forcing out Sammakot. Now, Forfans crits of their own. It's Evo who has it at the moment, and we're sending it in. It's Scout crits coming forward. A lot of damage early on onto the demo man is found, and they get the force on to the enemy medic, but it is Mula paying for that with his life. Not the most successful crit you've ever seen, but they get the force out at least.
The rest of the players hightailing it out of their Broochman. Finally, a threat is lessened on their own side. Broochman won that mid-fight. They completely forced the Frenchies, Forfans, out of that mid, because earliest bomb onto Mula. Mula had to serve back. Heals were very passive. They were all crammed up into their own choke, and what that meant, Derpy Hooves could have completely stickied them out, but Broochman, simply by being on this top position over the cafe, spammed out Derpy Hooves, and Derpy Hooves is under so much pressure all the time. They're recognizing the strengths, and even if one flank fails, another buddy has his flank. Dimur is trying to bomb in here, sees, loses Derpy Hooves, stays alive with his life intact.
It's so hard to now try to convert this push. You do have an advantage, but without a demo man, with your soldiers taking these fights on the flanks and not finding kills. Yes, you have a kill onto the soldier, but you're 2 down, losing your pocket scout in this situation. The Uber's coming forward now, trying desperately to get that kill onto Delhi, but it just has such nice pipes there onto Sills. Get Chad piped down, and unfortunately, it makes it really easy for Forfans to just come right back in. Out of dungeon they come. And there's just one Black in behind, runs up into QB. And he's cleaned up now. Massive advantage, 100% here for Mula. So we're walking into Cafe. Watch out for the stickies. Rudgman just clearing them effectively for his team as just go down. Now Sammakot, are you contesting this at all? They're sitting in their choke, but they're just getting spammed out here.
The deficiencies don't even lie within the lack of ideas anymore, which is usually the case when a team is down 3-0. They're still trying Sammakot. I see that QB was spammed long range. Doesn't really amount to anything as far as I picture it, but as far as I have been monitoring this game, at least, it was Forfans simply winning in terms of deathmatch and positioning. They even tried some crit streak action, didn't really work, but in the end didn't lose them all that much. They're 3-0 down. They can again tick down. This time Black gets piped, both Ubers are up, no one is going to get forced. Double soldier, Demul is in, but Seeds doesn't pop. There were some rockets getting flung his way. Broochman also in, Sylphs as well. Just soldiers flying in, but insignificantly getting traded out.
This is now just, you're trading 2 soldiers for another one, right? Then it just kind of sets up the Frenchies so well. It's 13 minutes and 30 seconds left on this map, and you're up 3-0, right? You take these trades any day of the week with your Forfans. It's a solo here onto Nevo, not able to find much. They crash just a little bit. Uber fades around the same time, but W's once again forced down onto the low ground, unable to get in. It's Sills with a bit of high ground, but he's taken down on his own, and now Black forward in the back line. W wants to get aggressive, wants to go forward, but he's 60 HP sitting all alone in this choke, and that means that Nevo can just come forward to clean him up. Now no projectile classes up for the sides of Sammakot, and they have to run out. And Forfans, they get this second point for free. It's even Ubers. You get another kill there on SNH on the forward spawn, and now there's no engineer on last.
Seeds at least has an advantage, but I'm not even picturing him to get close to a 90%. Now it ticks, but might just end up forced, and then Mula backs out again. Half of the time again is kept. Now the stickies get flown onto that point. Mula gets shot apart by Sylphs, who is someone who helps his team to get a full 100% advantage. Curry cleans up 2 more stragglers. They were able to fight them off and hold that last point also. There's a 1v1 Broochman against Derpy Hooves. The biggest side deficiency that they lack here is the Frenchies have too much deathmatch. They are simply winning the deathmatch battle, and now, I mean, Sammakot is coming back to that second point and claiming it, having a 60% advantage as we speak, but they need to be fast, and it's just so difficult.
Yeah, they do really have to crawl back some rounds. Right now, it's QB sniping in the forward spawn here on middle. Scoping up through choke. Gonna have to see if he can find anything. Nope. Find much. He just retreats back into that shutter. Still up on the snipers. The Uber's popped out for sammakot. They actually find two onto Brudgman and onto Deli. There's no demo man down. Uber kind of relatively successful. We're gonna have to see if Forfen's able to get any further aggressive. QB unable to find the shot. Finds a sticky on the second forward spawn. Instead now, W's walking forwards and sammakot supporting the team. Massive advantage here for Mula, but he just doesn't have the players and have the position to be able to push off of this at all. Demul in lobby eating a lot of damage here.
Almost got caught, but eventually not even getting that kill now. Red Uber is forced, and there's even a backcap attempt. Sylphs, Derpy Hooves both cleaned up, SNH as well, so you have the one half of your team down. An Uber advantage is still though, and the problem is only Derpy Hooves is going to have a forward spawn. Can sticky some chokes out though, that might help him, but he's so far passive, which means he has to fling himself forward. But the Uber is now fully up, and let's see if they can get something here. The Uber is not popped early enough onto the scout. Still, Deli is the first victim, Nevo is another, and Mula the crucial one as well. A lot of shots coming onto Curry by QB still, but the soldier leaping in, gets the skirmish. Derpy Hooves protects it.
This is now a really nice ticket for sammakot to get the first round in this series. As we're walking in onto last, everyone is dead for the French side. It's a really healthy heavy shut down by Derpy, who's just living barely on 1 HP. But the spawners now, they can come in for the French side. Yes, they're getting the kill onto Mula. They're getting further kills here on to Deli as well. Brudgman, 5 HP. Nevo, only 50. Unable to get onto the point in time. Somehow barely miraculously holding on for as long as they do. But sammakot, it's a nice idea for the Frenchies, right? Getting in, they get that point capture on second, just keep it going, send in a soldier sack, get that force, but sammakot managed to squeeze water from stone with that Uber charge, getting in, getting that sort of really successful trade. Everyone wipes on second, and they convert it into the first round of this best of 2.
And on that previously mentioned stone, they shall build their church, the Church of the M, since finally the deathmatch was a bit better. The focus fire was honed a little bit, and I liked the impetus of, well, shooting at Mula! Now it works. You see, earlier he was forced out and was able to survive. Mula this time around though, having only a soldier bump onto his head and bump onto his head, and that even further helps him to win this mid-fight. Nevo is caught in cafe. Drink that cafe in disquiet for you. But yeah, now they kept the midpoint and 90% have 100% full Uber advantage. I'm giving you the keywords that can be, and they can do to Forfens what Forfens have done to them before, which is kept 2 points in 2 minutes.
They need to get this fast though, right? If you give them too long, Forfens will set up a defense. It's Nevo on the sniper here. You can see sammakot trying to figure out where they're going to take this Uber. They're sending in the demo man. The Uber comes forward onto the sentry gun, and it is taken down quite fast. Now, early point capture does come across. There's no Uber for the enemy side, and there's no heavy onto the point. So sammakot can come right back in off of a really exceptional mid-fight, and they manage to convert it. It's Black and Sylphs doing the heavy lifting there. The conversion is clean, and that is 2 rounds in very quick succession here for sammakot, and suddenly they're within touching distance of Forfens' 3 rounds. They were looking so comfortable, but now this time around, just back.
We were touching on the subject of alt accounts earlier. Have they also alt accounts that are named after the other team? It feels like the teams have literally just swapped. We saw the same round working for sammakot that worked for Forfens, especially with the scout getting the point half capped without any suffering any casualties, without any offense on his own side. Black is the first victim of that mid-fight, which means Mula is not in any danger, not jeopardized early enough, and now 7 times cap. Make that 8. Everybody wants to get some cap time for themselves, but already you can see Deli is calling for it. They want to walk forward, have 10% advantage. It will not matter in time, don't worry chat. But you see this though, sammakot have a lot of time still left in their banks to tie this game out.
It's just Brudgman. He gets up onto the enemy cafe, and the spam is so effective, forcing out sammakot on his own. The rest of the French is playing around it really well. Nevo falls in a bit of an over-aggression there. Does get called out now. Down your pocket scout. R4 fence, and it opens the door for Black to go in with the bomb in onto Mula, but unfortunately, does absolutely no damage now. Kills have been even. It's a counter bomb coming in. Decent damage actually onto Sylvs. Doesn't quite fall. This is still going on. Lots of damage dealt, but nothing coming of it. 7 minutes left on the clock here. One round up for the French side. Soldiers are just trading on the flank, but Sylvs coming up on top of the 1v1.
Able to weaponize his own positioning since the team was still backing him up and Sivs was alive, bombing through that choke. Derpius is not after standing in set choke, and Delhi has some very defensive and even offensive stickies for his counterpart. Now 1v1 trade, but Bruchman is going to spawn earlier. No, Demoman might spell disaster quite so soon, since no point is sticked, no choke is sticked either, and you can really freely walk in. Bruchman taking 1v1 against Sylvs in the cafe area. Sylvs knocking himself up to a 3k and 2 players still down. Both soldiers, the prodigies, 4-4 fans lacking. Sylvs wants to take this lead into his hands, and being the spirit of this push, trade now coming out.
It's a really nice rocket there on to Mula, getting the force out. It's just a solo onto Nevo, but it doesn't find much instead. The Uber's going to fade, and Nevo's going to find himself in front of all 4 blue players here. Rockets out of Sylvs keep coming out. Feels like they're finally coming away. I say that. The caster curse is so strong because Rudgman comes in at the end, manages to find that kill onto Siege. It was looking super advantage there for Sammakot. The advantageous position, so good. And the bomb, the late bomb from Bruchman keeps them in the game. And now Mula, 45, make this 50% advantage here.
Alongside your words, the caster's curse transfixed Seeds in position. He missed the surf, and that ended up not happening. That was also a little bit uncharacteristically to see him just get popped up by one rocket and then die to the second one. It concludes into a 50% advantage. Mula has his team in tow. Everybody probably knows what they are doing. They are conglomerating up in the cafe area with Nevo and Delhi in attack. Bruchman already securing his own cafe high ground and spamming them out from afar. Sylvs is cult early, but gets ultimately one rocket into Mula.
It's such nice early spam rockets there, but the bomb out of Sylvs is even better. Getting that force onto Mula completely shuts down the momentum of this French push. Yes, you're down one soldier, but you have a massive advantage here to work with. You can see Sammakot already kind of progressing into Valley here, looking to see what they can find as they try to go forward to mid. In choke in the meantime, though, Blank finding one. It's another kill onto Bruchman. This flank is blowing up on the French side. One Demoul trying to hold it up. It's an orc against the world, and he kind of manages to salvage it a little bit. But now Derpius and Corey Banana doing everything that they can as they're getting back control of middle here. Mula, 70% is still a bit of an angle for Sammakot to push. They do still kind of had the advantage. They're looking to go through choke here, but I think Mula is going to have this in time. I don't know if this push is advisable anymore. They're just sending in. Derpius wants to go in, and he doesn't quite find the pipes. I love the idea.
The Twitcher can see it, but Mula is taken up as the last dance. He had a lot of dances throughout this game, surfing through the balcony, dodging that very big pipe, and Seeds now a little bit post shot farther back behind the point. We have Sylvs on the bell tower, ringing them all throughout with his rockets, and Mula is furthermore getting put down in the damage numbers. It's a better trade out of Sammakot.
Yeah, the trade is coming out and the Uber does fade. They managed to maintain control of middle here. Both teams have all 6 players alive, but Sammakot, they only have 3 minutes to work for. They have to try and get some sort of a round within this next time allotted to them. 3 minutes, all you have to work for, but you have to find an opening kill to start the momentum, get the ball rolling. Choosing Cafe to start this off, but it's really nice soldier spam coming out there of Brudgman, keeping them back as Sylvs is in choke, but Black so low, and Valley gets caught out, killed by QB. We are trading 1-for-1 here, but SNH now falling in Valley. Early aggression coming out for 4 fans. They're looking to take it out on top. Just coming in, sending in a soldier now. Could be crucial. Demoul sitting in Valley. Doesn't go in.
SNH lost his partner in crime on the flank leg and then got ganked up by 3-1, and that ended up with them being 2 players down. Bruchman afterwards only then cleaned up by a miraculous shot, but afterwards we saw Demoul a little bit bombing in also earlier. He was the one that salvaged the Frenchies again as he won 2 versus 1. Black is dealt with though, and the soldiers are trading some rockets out. QB is a very vital pick to fall in the disfavor of the Frenchies since their pocket scout is lacking now. Never mind, it's not pocket scout, but Nivo is a little bit postured farther back passively as a result of that, because there are no complementary shots coming in, and the 3 players still down. Derpuse wants to try this forward.
It's a series of 1v1 to go in the favor of sammakot, giving them a pick advantage, going in, getting that 4 seeds, popping much later now. Mula somehow manages to find his way into dungeon and might even be able to go out. There's no one chasing him. Instead, now sammakot settling for second. They do have 1 minute, 45 seconds to play for. We have to keep our eyes on this clock as QB up on the heavy, doing everything that he can to dissuade sammakot from getting in. I would like to honestly just kind of take this trade. See if Ubers get in, get some kind of an advantage. The Pyro is up, and Black is denied his position at... It is just a move falling as well here. Corey Banana manages to find that SNH in the low ground as well, but this heavy doing a lot of work dissuading any kind of push.
Very interesting positioning since the double scout claimed Black's life through the under area, and now Sylves tries to bomb in. Never mind, sorry, the Moore was dealt with by the double scout, but SNH now gets gunned from afar, long distance projectiles raining his way, and QB might reign superior. Supreme, you might even say. Corey gets reflected into bloody bits. That might again weaken this initiative. The impetus will be reconvene your players, get everybody fully buffed up, since you have one last shot. You know that song? One last opportunity, and it's all you got.
This is one last opportunity to take away the French playoff dreams there for the side of sammakot. Try this up front for Fence. Want all 6 points if they want a chance to contest with this playoffs. It's an Uber now. It's going to come in through lower onto the scout, onto the demo man of sammakot. As Derpuse walking forwards. The counter Uber coming out now of Mula. No kills, but either side have been found, and this trade is completely fine. Now, Corey eats a rocket to the face out of the Maul. He bombs forwards, gets another kill onto SNH. Sylves is falling as well. Derpy trying to muscle his way forward, but it's a 2 versus 4. Decent pipe onto the medic, but this is just a 1v4 now. Seeds, only one standing, and there we go. 4 Fence. It got close at the end, but they managed to tie it up all 6 points for them. As I have no idea actually where that puts us mathematically, but it makes 4 Fence. It gets them way closer to playoffs than they were before we started this series.
I mean, 6 points is more than 3, is definitely more than 0, so that should already tell you a lot why you should win these games and also not forfeit, you know, previous games where you don't get any points when you just give default wins. But no, they omitted again in that last push by sammakot. I don't want to pound the rubble too much. They omitted to play on their strengths, which was keep your soldiers a little bit more alive. They were again trying to solo bomb in like 1 or 2 seconds apart from each other onto the enemy medic, and I know it's easy to backseat game and just put the finger where it hurts, rub a little bit salt in the wound, but the problem is I saw them having it in them to play conservative and just to fire all this damage forward, and then their scouts rush in. But the problem is they always were a little bit, I don't know if they were too greedy, if they were calling for it and the team didn't follow up. You know, it is a team effort, so form follows function, sometimes also function follows failure, and 4 Fence follows 6 points. Enough with wonderful wordplays. We have a 6-0 for 4 Fence. That puts them probably in a better stat if they didn't get any points, but I'm trying to load the final logs of tonight. Sunshine, let's see who shone through. Mula has 7 deaths, Seeds has 8 deaths, and Nivo not having 9.0 KD anymore, or 8.3. That's honestly embarrassing.
It's a bit more indicative that this was a bit of a closer game, right? He's still going 2 for 1, so it's not the end of the world, right? But I mean, yeah. As just kind of looking across on the other side, just kind of looking to see there is a world, right? If the Danish tyrant regime took any points off of Skeda, there was a world where Skeda actually could have potentially missed out on playoffs, considering what else would happen tomorrow here. I do believe they should have taken all points. This is actually my phone set, so I can't even read the chat. So there's probably someone telling me whether or not that happened or not. But in the end, it's 6 points for the Frenchies. I do believe, as you were saying earlier, there a lot of things need to happen. I think including penalty points. They want to make it into playoffs, to be completely honest, if I'm doing my maths correctly, sitting looking at the tables at the moment, would have to be a bit of you know what I mean. Like they're sitting now on 19 points, so they make playoffs if Skeda get one penalty, or no, because then there'd be a head-to-head. They need Skeda to get 2 major warnings. So
do you think they can do it?
I mean, Mac has time to get his team out of playoffs still.
Let him cook. No, but I mean, we have shown that a lot of those people have what it takes to get themselves major warnings and the default losses now. But enough of babbling about that. Also, just join with your fellow Twitch buddies. They can tell you a lot about the seedings, about the predictions, but you already laid the foundation for tomorrow's game. It will be interesting since today's game was a bit more indicative toward that Forfans might get into the playoffs. Yeah, no scrying ball needs to work to say that sammakot are out. Yeah, sorry to tell it to you sammakot fanboys, but that was it from us. I don't want to strain your evening for too long. You were watching sammakot versus
!LAN in the chat. We're gonna LAN next week, boys.
We do indeed go to LAN. Yeah, you could have now 30 minutes of talk about the LAN, but you know, we just want to keep it a little bit of secret and just want to be secretive because it will be an absolute blast. You just stay tuned for that one. Next Thursday, people will start arriving, and I do think that Friday the games will start for everyone who is not there, which you definitely should be, but to watch on your home monitors. But yeah, we are slowly wrapping this up. If you have any other shout out, just crosstalk through me, but I will wrap this up now. So, Forfans were taking it 2-0 in terms of maps, 6-0 in terms of points. sammakot showed what it was worth, but that was the season for them. Forfans need to stay silently in the background and hope that everybody else screws up a little bit and that gets them into those set playoffs. But you've been watching Essentials.tf, you are essential to us, and we'll catch you next time.